So before this lecture, the problem was there was some technical problem in the last video, and so that's the main reason I couldn't complete the triple product of the vector. So now here I'm going to complete it. Okay. So a dot b vector cross of c vector, or you can say that a vector, b vector, and c vector, these three vectors. Okay, so if a vector is equal to a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus of a3 k cap, and b vector is basically b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus of b3 k cap. Okay, so b3 k cap. Okay, and c vector, for c vector it will be c1 I cap plus c2 j cap plus of c3 k cap. Okay, so after that if I try to took that a dot of b cross of c vector, then what it will be the come out the result. So the result will be a1 of I cap plus a2 of j cap um, plus a3 of k cap. Okay, and into what, into b1 I cap plus b2 মানে j cap plus b3 k cap. Okay, plus মানে into c1 I cap plus c2 j cap plus of c3 k cap. Okay, now after that what it will be, a1 of I cap plus of a2 of j cap plus of a3 of k cap. Clear. Eh, clear. And so that's the things. Okay, and we did it these lines before. Now I'm going to step jump. So no, before a step jump, let's say this is b1 and this is c1, and multiplying both each other. So it will be b2 b2 c3 minus of b3 c2 I cap plus of b3 c1 minus of b1 c3 into j cap plus মানে b1 c2 minus b2 c1 into k cap. Okay, is equal to what will be, is equal to a1 b2 c3 minus of b3 c2 plus of a2 b3 c1 minus of b1 c3 plus of a3 into b1 c2 minus of b2 c1. So it will be around a1 a2 a3 b1 b2 b3 c1 c2 c3. Clear. Similarly মানে for b vector cross of b vector cross of c vector, it will be around b vector dot c vector cross of a vector. Okay, so it will be c vector dot a vector cross of b vector. Okay, so the value of the product depends upon the cyclic order. Okay, so the value of the product depend upon the cyclic order. Okay, so value of the depend on the cyclic order, and cyclic order of the vector. Okay, so cyclic order of the vectors, the value will be but independent of the position of dot and cross, but independent of the position and the and the cross product. Okay, but independent of the position of and the cross product will be, it will be what, it will be independent. Okay, so geometrical interpretation, let's say this is I'm going to develop here sorry if I got a chance to develop mathematics, then definitely I'll continue contribute. Okay, but here I am introducing. Okay, so geometrical interpretation, what it will be. So geometrical interpretation, the scalar triple product, the scalar triple product, will be let's say a vector dot of b cross of c vector. Okay, represent the volume of the parallelogram, represent volume of the volume of the parallelogram. Okay, uh, parallelogram. Okay, having a vector, b vector and c vector as its co-terminal edges, as its co-terminal edges. Okay, that's its co-terminal edges. So basically it will be, let's say, a vector dot of b vector cross of c vector. Okay, it will be what, it will be a vector dot area of gm ob obdc obdc of n-hack. Okay, so area of obdc, so it will be the volume of parallelepiped. Okay, ultimate it will represent what, now the volume of parallelepiped. Okay, find the volume of parallelepiped. Okay, so here given that the question number is example, let's say next example, find the volume of the parallelepiped. Okay, so okay, so find the parallelepiped. Okay, if the condition is given, if mane a vector is equal to minus of 3i plus 7j plus 5k vector. Okay, and b vector is equal to minus of 3i plus of 7j minus of 3k. Okay, and c vector is equal to 7 of I minus of 5j minus of 3k. Okay, so this is the c vector. So are the three co-terminal edges, are the three terminal edges. Okay, co-terminal edges. So how you will find that the volume, how you will find. Okay, so for to find out the volume, let's say volume a vector dot cross of b b cross of c, so it will be around what, minus 3 minus 7 5 minus 3 7 minus 3 7 minus 3 minus acha. So it will be minus 3 7 5 minus 3 7 minus 3 7 minus 5 and minus 3. Okay, 7 minus 5 minus 3. ठीक है. So this will be the ultimate thing, and after that, sorry, I have to remove my cat. Wait. Okay, and for that reason you will be so for that reason the ultimate after that what it will come out, it will come out minus 3 into minus 21 minus 15 minus 7 into 9 plus 21 9 plus 21, okay, plus 5 into 15 minus of 49. So result will be ultimate 108 minus of 210 minus of 170, it will be around minus 272 answer. মানে cubing unit, it will be unit will be cube unit, cube unit. Okay, so cube unit it will be. So that's the main question. Okay, and it is clear, understand. Okay, now now I will solve a vector product of 3. Okay, okay, in this topic I will solve a vector product of 3 vector. Okay, vector product of 3 vector, vector product of 3 vector. Okay, so in the vector product of 3 vector, how I will derive, let b, a, b and c, let a vector, b vector and c vector. Okay, b 3 vector, 3 vector, then their vector product is written, then their vector product is written, and then their vector product is written a vector cross of b vector cross of c vector. Okay, this is so, and a vector product of 3 vector product or মানে হচ্ছে cross product, this is called. So for let a vector is equal to, assume that a1 of I cap plus of a2 of j cap plus of a3 of k cap. Similarly, b vector is equal to b1 of I cap, b2 of j cap plus of b3 of k cap. Okay, and c vector, for c vector is equal to c1 of I cap, j cap, k cap. Clear? And when I will do, let's say a vector cross of b vector cross of c vector, then ultimate result will become out what? The ultimate result will be a1 I cap plus a2 j cap plus a3 b1 I cap plus b2 j cap plus of b3 k cap into c1 of I cap plus c2 of j cap plus of c3 of k cap. Is equal to what will be, is equal to a1 I cap plus of a2 j cap, a3 k cap. This is into what? This will come out of b1 of c1, b2 c3 minus b3 c2, b2 c3 minus this b2 and c3 minus of minus of b3 c2, okay, into I cap, sorry, j cap, sorry, I cap, I'm writing again mistake. So B3C1 B3C1 minus of B1C3. Okay, uh, into J cap plus of B1C3 মানে B1C3 B1 minus of B2C1 J cap A2 into B1C2 minus of B2C1 minus of A3 B3C2 B3C1 minus of B1C3 মানুষের খালি চাপে প্রমোস তো I cap and A3 B2C3 minus of B3 B3C2 minus of A1 B1 B1 B2 minus of B2C1 J cap plus A1 B3 to B3C1 minus B1C3 minus of A2 B2C3 minus of B3 A2 into K cap, K cap. After that, the result will be A1 C1 plus A2 C2 plus হচ্ছে A3 C3, ঠিক আছে, B1 I plus B2 J plus B3 K cap, ঠিক আছে, মাইনাস হচ্ছে A1 B1 plus A2 B2 plus A3 B3 B1 plus হচ্ছে A2 B2 plus হচ্ছে A3 B3, ঠিক আছে, A3 B3 so is equal to A dot C vector B vector minus of A vector dot B vector equals C vector. This will be ultimate answer. Okay, so let's say giving an example how you will solve it. Let's say this is I'm taking another kind of example. Say example another question. Okay, so let A vector is equal to I vector plus J vector minus of K have B vector is equal to I vector minus of J vector plus of K vector. K vector is equal to I minus of J minus of K vector. So find the vector of find the vector of A vector cross of B vector cross of C vector. Okay, how you will find the vector? Okay, so let's say answer will be A vector cross of B vector cross of C vector. Okay, it will be what? It will be A C vector A dot C vector to B vector minus A vector dot B vector to C vector. So it will be I plus of j minus of k into c মানে হচ্ছে I minus of j minus of k vector, okay, into b vector. B vector means one I vector minus of j plus of k, ঠিক আছে, minus of a vector I plus j minus of k into b vector is equal to I minus of j plus of k vector into c vector means what? C vector means I vector minus of j vector minus of k vector. This will be, so after that what will be the ultimate result? So ultimate result will be I vector I minus of j vector plus of k vector, okay, and after that plus of I minus of j minus of k cap, okay, and so it will be around 2I minus of 2j. So this will be the ultimate answer, 2I 2j, okay. खतरनाक प्रूफ हो जाए। एक खतरनाक वेक्टर को प्रूव करने वाले हैं अब। तो लेट्स से सो दैट क्वेश्चन so that for any scalar lambda, the vectors x y given by vector y given by the vector x y given by x vector is equal to lambda of a vector plus u into a vector cross b vector, okay, a square y square y vector is equal to 1 minus rho lambda divided by q a square a root minus rho a square into b divided by a square. So satisfy the equation. So satisfy the equation p of x plus q of y is equal to a vector, okay, and x vector cross of y vector is equal to b. So the given questions are, so the given questions are u of x plus q of y, q of x vector plus q of y vector, okay, is equal to a vector. This is number one equation, okay. This is answer also, answer, this is answer, okay. And number one and number two into y is equal to given that b. So I am writing this is second equation number 2, okay. So multiplying equation 1 vectorically by x, multiplying 3 vectorically by 3. Okay, so we have 3 vectorically by 3 by a vector. Okay, so we have, after that we have, sorry, I am writing again wrong, vectorically writing by x vector. Okay, x vector. So we get that x into probability of x vector q of y vector is equal to x cross of a. So probability of x into multiply probability of x into x. Okay, it will be plus q to x multiply of y. X multiply of y, so x vector multiply of a vector. And for q, q cross of x vector cross of y vector, it will be x vector cross of a vector. So x vector cross of a vector is equal to q of b vector. So partially x vector cross of x vector is equal to 0. So from 2 equation number 2, x cross of y multiply, it will be b vector. Okay, so this will be equation number 3. Multiply 3 vectorically, multiply 3 vectorically by a vector. We have what? We have a vector cross of x cross of a vector. Okay, a vector cross of q b vector. After that it will be what? After that it will be let's say a vector cross of a vector dot a vector into x, a vector dot x is equal to q of cross of b vector is equal to comes out what? Is comes out a square x minus of a into a vector is equal to q into vector cross of b vector. So it will be around a square x minus of a vector dot x dot a vector is equal to u cross of a vector cross of b vector. So it will be a square x is equal to a vector dot of x vector into a vector plus হচ্ছে q dot a vector cross of b vector. So it will be x of a vector dot of x into is equal to a square u into a square into a vector cross of b vector divided by a square. So what will be the ultimate result? So after that x will be lambda a plus q into a vector plus of b vector divided by a vector. So where lambda is equal to where lambda is equal to a vector dot x vector divided by a square. Substituting the value the value of x vector, okay, in egg number equation, we get what that p of lambda a plus a cross of b divided by a square, okay, u of y is equal to a square. So from this point we'll get this, okay, remember that. So after that, after the substituting of this point, what you will get, you will get जैसे कि rho, you will get qy is equal to a vector minus of rho vector to lambda a plus 2 into a vector cross of b vector divided by a square. So y square, y vector will be what? Y vector will be 1 minus rho lambda divided by into a vector, ঠিক আছে, by q minus into মানে a vector cross of b vector divided by a square. This will be the ultimate answer, guys. Now I'm going to start another topic. This is very much important, মানে differentiation of vector, okay. So before I start the next topic, I'm going to stop this lecture here, and I'm going to start next lecture after that, okay.